Sally Field, a name that echoes through decades of cinema, evoking the image of a delicate, feminine actress whose spirit was stronger than anyone else's, a Hollywood icon who survived its fiercest tempests. Born on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California, Sally Margaret Field first appeared before audiences not in the glow of Oscar gold, but with bright eyes and a radiant smile on television screens in the 1960s. On screen, Sally Field's image always ran parallel with the challenges of her real life. To truly understand her inner strength, one must return to her childhood, a world where light and darkness intertwined, where a little girl learned to navigate abuse and pain in order to emerge as one of Hollywood's indomitable symbols. Born into what seemed like an artistic family, Sally Field experienced a childhood more complex than any script she would ever play. Her mother, Margaret Field, was an actress in B-movies, always reaching for the spotlight, yet never breaking through to real stardom. Her parents divorced when Sally was very young, leaving a deep absence in her childhood. In 1952, Margaret remarried Jock Mahoney, a well-known stuntman once celebrated as one of Hollywood's most handsome faces, even portraying Tarzan in Tarzan Goes to India, 1962. To the public, he was a silver screen hero. To young Sally, he became a troubling presence. In her 2018 memoir In Pieces, she wrote openly about painful experiences from those years, explaining how they shaped her life. Acting was survival, she confessed. Performance became the way she endured and kept herself going. She described nights filled with fear, memories that weighed heavily for many years. "I could not expect protection from my own mother," she admitted to NPR, noting that for reasons never fully understood, her mother remained silent instead of stepping in. Rumors in Hollywood during the 1950s and 60s whispered that Margaret Field knew more than she let on. But fearing the collapse of her second marriage, she turned away. Whether true or not, that silence became a second betrayal, layered over the abuse itself. During those years, Sally turned to imagination as her escape. Each time she stepped onto a school stage or slipped into an invented character, she felt herself flee her own body, the one that imprisoned terrible memories. For her, acting was never play. It was proof she was still alive, a desperate shield against nightmares swallowing her whole. The tragedies did not stop there. At just 17, Sally Field faced an unwanted pregnancy. In 1964, before Roe v. Wade, abortion was taboo and illegal. With the secret help of a family doctor and an uncle, she was taken to Tijuana, Mexico. There, without anesthesia, without safety, she endured a harrowing procedure. Made even worse when she was violated again by the doctor performing it. She later called the experience hideous, a nightmare within a nightmare. For decades, she spoke of it to no one. Not until her 70s did she reveal it publicly, framing it as testimony for why abortion rights must be protected. From such private suffering, Sally Field built the armor to step into Hollywood. She did not pursue acting for quick fame, but for survival and healing. Fate soon intervened. In 1965, she auditioned for Gidget, a role that opened the door to both dazzling triumphs and dangerous traps. Hollywood in the 1960s was merciless for new faces. At only 19, Sally had no formal training, no solid standing. Yet her determination and fresh charm won her the lead role in Gidget, 1965. The story of a teenage girl in love with surfing and sunshine seemed like a light-hearted series, but it brought her directly into America's living rooms. Audiences adored her Pasadena smile and innocent warmth. For the first time, Sally Field stepped out of her childhood shadows and into the spotlight. But Hollywood was not kind to inexperience. Gidget lasted just one season, and soon Sally was trapped in another gilded cage, the sitcom The Flying Nun, 1967 to 1970. The image of the tiny nun flying about in her oversized white habit quickly became a pop culture icon. Yet to Sally, it was a golden trap. The press labeled her the cute flying nun, but behind the laughter, she felt suffocated, boxed into a shallow caricature. Rumors suggested she tried multiple times to leave the show, but bound by contract, she was forced to smile on camera while resentment grew inside. By the early 1970s, desperate to break free, she enrolled in serious acting classes at the Actors Studio under Lee Strasberg. There, for the first time, Sally was encouraged to unleash all the buried pain of her childhood. Strasberg saw in her a raw, untamed energy. If channeled, it could become a rare artistic weapon. Then, in 1976, the turning point arrived. Sybil, a television film based on the true story of a woman with multiple personality disorder, demanded everything she had. Sally Field transformed seamlessly among more than 16 identities. A frightened child, a violent man, a gentle young woman, an androgynous soul. Each scene was a psychological trial, but her metamorphosis was so convincing that crew members admitted to shivering as she shifted in an instant. The film earned widespread acclaim and won Sally an Emmy. From that moment, no one called her the Flying Nun anymore. She was, finally, an actress. Sybil was Sally Field's second birth from sitcom ingenue to true dramatic performer. Directors who once dismissed her as not sexy enough began to seek her out. Martin Scorsese even considered her for a role in New York, 1977, though it never materialized. But it didn't matter. With Sybil, Sally had arrived, respected, liberated, and, most importantly, free to choose her own path. Recognition, however, came with crushing pressure. An actress who had just escaped the shadow of sitcom comedy now had to prove her triumph was not a fleeting stroke of luck. Hollywood watched Sally with skeptical eyes. Could she sustain it? Could she compete with rising powerhouses like Jane Fonda and Meryl Streep? The answer arrived just a few years later, decisive and golden. In 1979, when Sally Field took on the role of Norma Ray Webster in Norma Ray, Hollywood still doubted her. Some critics whispered she lacked the weight for such a socially and politically charged role. But director Martin Ritt believed in her energy. That belief created one of the immortal moments in American cinema. Sally Field standing in the middle of the textile mill, raising a sign that read Union, silencing the entire factory as machines shut down one by one. That image was more than cinematic climax. It was political declaration. In the tense labor climate of the 1970s, Norma Ray struck directly at the heart of America's working class. Sally became the embodiment of a small but unbreakable woman, daring to confront injustice despite threats from management and isolation within her own community. Behind the Oscar spotlight, though, rumors swirled. Some claimed that Sally and Burt Reynolds clashed bitterly during awards season, that he was jealous enough of her success to refuse to accompany her to the ceremony. Tabloids suggested her win was the wedge that began splitting them apart. Reynolds later admitted, "I should have been there," while Sally wrote in her memoir that his absence was a signal she could no longer ignore. After Norma Ray, Sally Field's career shifted entirely. From sitcom ingenue, she became a guarantee for layered leading roles. Directors sought her not only for dramas, but also for romantic comedies. Kiss Me Goodbye, 1982, earned her a Golden Globe nomination, while Murphy's Romance, 1985, alongside James Garner, proved she could be strong yet alluring, serious yet humorous. Her second pinnacle came swiftly, Places in the Heart, 1984. The role brought her a second Oscar within a single decade, placing Sally among the rare women to hold two. Her versatility proved that Sally Field was not just a dramatic icon, but a fully dimensional artist. Yet, even while conquering peaks, she continued to face Hollywood's brutal biases against women, especially regarding age. That would become her next battlefield in the 1990s. By then, she no longer needed to prove her talent. The Oscars had spoken. But Hollywood's challenge for women had changed form. While male peers like Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Jack Nicholson kept thriving, women past 40 were pushed into supporting roles, into mothers and grandmothers. And for Sally, the decade was both one of immense audience love and a mirror reflecting Hollywood's ageism. In Steel Magnolias, 1989, she played Malin Eatonton, the mother who endures the death of her daughter from diabetic complications. Then came a turn to comedy. In Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, Sally embodied Miranda, the divorced mother who unwittingly hires her ex-husband, Robin Williams, disguised as a nanny. The film was hilarious yet touching, a box office giant. Viewers resonated with Miranda so deeply that many wrote to Sally, confessing her words felt like their own in the wake of broken marriages. Then, in 1994, came Forrest Gump. Sally portrayed Tom Hanks's mother, a strange twist, as only 6 years earlier, in Punchline, 1988, she had been his romantic partner. Hollywood now forced her into the role of an aging mother, though in real life she was just 10 years older than Hanks. The shift epitomized ageism. Men could keep playing lovers at 50 and 60, while women in their 40s were pushed into maternal archetypes. By her 50s, scripts dwindled. Directors once full of praise fell silent. Critics wrote, "Field has passed her golden era." Many assumed she would retreat quietly. Instead, she chose the harder road. Rebirth on television, an arena once dismissed by film stars as a step down. For Sally, it was a stage for reinvention. In 2000, she appeared on ER as Maggie Wazensky, the bipolar mother of Abby Lockhart. Each scene screaming, fleeing, collapsing into her daughter's arms, left viewers shaken. Sally won her second Emmy at 54, proof that her acting fire burned on. Rumor had it she nearly refused the role, fearing comparisons to Sybil. Yet that fear became fuel. "If I don't dare to repeat what scares me, then what is there left to explore?" she later said. Her true television peak came as Nora Walker in Brothers and Sisters, 2006 to 2011. As the matriarch navigating political, financial, and personal upheavals, she earned yet another Emmy. Nora was no saintly mother. Sally demanded flaws, contradictions, and vulnerabilities. That insistence made Nora deeply human and unforgettable. While television brought her close to audiences, film offered her fiercest battle. In 2005, Steven Spielberg revived Lincoln. Sally coveted the role of Mary Todd Lincoln. Yet when Daniel Day-Lewis replaced Liam Neeson, Spielberg hesitated. Sally was 10 years older than Day-Lewis, though history recorded Mary Todd as 10 years younger than her husband. Rumors swirled that she was being quietly dismissed due to age. She fought back. Sally prepared costumes, makeup, even staged scenes to prove her fit. She phoned Spielberg persistently, sent audition tapes, even lost weight to match the 19th century figure. Reportedly, Day-Lewis himself was swayed by her intensity. Spielberg relented, and in 2012, she delivered a powerful Mary Todd Lincoln, earning another Oscar nomination. If Sally Field's career was a tapestry of transformation from sitcom lightness to Oscar gold, her personal life was a more turbulent film, layered with love, heartbreak, and rumor. At 22, she married Stephen Craig, a college student, and had 2 sons, Peter and Eli. The marriage ended after 7 years, leaving her a single mother balancing children and career. In 1984, she married producer Alan Greisman, with whom she had a 3rd son, Sam. They divorced in 1993. Sally swore never to remarry, reportedly telling friends, "Marriage isn't for me. My children are my center." Yet her most infamous romance was with Burt Reynolds. Their 4-year relationship, beginning on Smokey and the Bandit, was Hollywood's golden couple on screen. But off-screen, she revealed, it was controlling, jealous, and suffocating. His refusal to accompany her to the Oscars became emblematic of deeper cracks. Years later, Reynolds called her the love of my life. But in her memoir, she described the relationship as confusing and complicated. Some accused her of cruelty for saying so after his death, but Sally insisted it was truth, not malice. Above all, she defined herself as a mother. When her youngest, Sam Greisman, came out as gay, Sally became a proud advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, standing at PFLAG events and declaring, "As a mother, my only job is to let my child be free to be himself." That honesty made her more than an actress. She became a moral compass for many American families. By choosing independence, by refusing remarriage, by turning wounds into fuel, Sally Field carved a life that Hollywood could not control. The industry labeled her, tabloids speculated, but she chose her own truth. Authenticity, motherhood, and creativity born from pain. Looking back, we see a paradox. Hollywood tried countless times to box her in, but each box she shattered became proof of resilience. Sally Field's story is not only the biography of an actress, it is a map for anyone who has ever felt too small against a vast world. Her roles made audiences laugh, cry, and reflect. Her life showed that strength lies not in hiding scars, but in exposing them. In the era of #MeToo and fierce battles over women's rights, Sally Field's voice resonates. Silence never protects. Only truth liberates. She spoke her truth, and in doing so gave us courage to speak ours. And now, let this story spread. Like to support, share so others can discover Sally Field's resilience, and subscribe for more Hollywood legends. Most importantly, leave your thoughts. What part of Sally Field's journey speaks to you? Let's discuss it together.